is ready for what's actually going to happen the day we make contact with aliens. Not governments, not scientists, not the military, and definitely not you. And the scary part, the first meeting probably won't look anything like what movies have been telling us for decades. It might not even feel like a meeting at all. So let's talk about this. Scientists right now are actively listening for signals from space. We've sent probes out of our solar system. We've beamed radio waves toward distant stars, and we've spent billions of dollars building giant dishes pointed at the sky, just waiting. But here's what nobody really talks about. What actually happens after we get something back? Because there's a plan. There are actual protocols, real documents that governments and scientists have agreed on for how first contact should go. And when you find out what those say, it raises way more questions than it answers. Today, we're going to walk through the whole thing, from the first second of contact, all the way to what a face-to-face meeting might actually look like. And I'll warn you now, some of this is going to be uncomfortable. Here's the first thing you need to understand. We have absolutely no idea what we're dealing with. That sounds obvious, right? Of course we don't know what aliens are like. But the problem goes much deeper than just not knowing what they look like. The real issue is that every single assumption we would bring into that first contact is built on human experience, human biology, human psychology, human language. And if there's anything the universe has made clear, it's that it doesn't care about what's convenient for humans. Think about this. Even on Earth, we struggle to communicate with animals that share our planet, breathe our air, eat our food, and have been living alongside us for millions of years. We still don't fully understand how dolphins talk to each other. We still can't have a two-way conversation with a chimpanzee. So imagine trying to communicate with something that evolved on a completely different planet, under a completely different sun, maybe with a completely different sense of time, maybe without anything we'd even recognize as language. That's the challenge, and scientists know it, which is exactly why there are already plans in place, even if those plans have some pretty big holes in them. Let's start at the beginning. How does this actually happen? Most scientists think the most likely first contact won't be a ship landing in a field somewhere. It'll be a signal, a radio pulse, or maybe a laser pulse, or some other kind of electromagnetic transmission that we pick up with one of our listening stations. Right now, there are organizations like SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, that are constantly scanning the sky. They're looking for signals that don't match anything natural. Stars make noise, quasars make noise, gas clouds make noise, but a repeating prime number sequence, a signal encoded with mathematical patterns, that would stop everyone in their tracks. And here's something most people don't realize. If a scientist picks up a signal that looks artificial, they can't just announce it to the world. There are rules. The SETI Institute has a document called the Declaration of Principles for Activities Following the Detection of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is a very long name for a very specific set of instructions that basically says, before you tell anyone, verify it. Then verify it again. Get other independent stations to confirm it. Then, and only then, do you notify the scientific community and eventually the public. No single person gets to make that call alone. It's designed to be a slow, careful process, because a false alarm would be one of the most embarrassing and damaging things that could happen. But here's where it gets interesting. There's no clear rule about how the public gets told, or who tells them first, or how governments are supposed to respond. That part, a lot messier. Okay, so let's say it's confirmed. The signal is real, it's intelligent, it's not from Earth. What happens next? In the first hours, the information would probably stay inside a very small circle of scientists and a few government officials, not because of some conspiracy, just because that's how these things work. Sensitive discoveries don't get announced at 3 a.m. But here's the thing about 2025 and beyond. There's no realistic way to keep something like that quiet for long. Too many people would need to know for verification. Too many stations would be pointed at the same coordinates. Someone would notice, someone would post something, and then it would explode. Social media would be chaos, absolute chaos. Every platform would be flooded instantly. Experts, non-experts, conspiracy theorists, religious figures, world leaders, everyone talking at the same time with almost no reliable information. Psychologists have actually studied how people react to this kind of news in hypothetical scenarios, and the results are kind of surprising. Most people don't panic. Most people, after an initial shock, become curious. The responses that cause more problems are the ones that come from leaders or institutions trying to control the narrative, because when official information feels delayed or vague, that's when people start filling in the gaps themselves, and they usually fill them in with the worst possible scenarios. Now let's say the signal contains more than just a repeating pattern. Let's say there's actual information in it. Decoding it would be one of the hardest problems humanity has ever faced, and it might take years, maybe decades. The best hope we have is mathematics. Math is the one thing that scientists believe would be universal. The ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter is the same everywhere in the universe. Prime numbers are the same everywhere. So a signal built on mathematical foundations would at least give us a foothold. But even if we figure out the math, understanding meaning is a whole other level, because language isn't just logic, it's context, it's culture, it's shared experience. Two humans from different countries can struggle to fully understand each other even when they both speak the same language fluently. Now remove every shared experience and replace it with nothing. Some researchers think the best way to communicate would be through images, starting with simple shapes, then more complex ones, building up a kind of visual grammar over time. Others think music might be a bridge, since sound and frequency are physical properties that exist regardless of where you're from. And a small group of scientists think we should send math equations, step by step, hoping the other side can work backwards to understand our intent. What's probably true is that we'd try all of them, and that the real conversation, if we ever get to an actual back and forth, would take an incredibly long time given the distances involved. Even a signal to the nearest star and back takes over 8 years at the speed of light, so you'd better be comfortable with slow replies. But what if it doesn't start with a signal? What if something just shows up? This is where things get really complicated and really fast. The first question isn't, are they friendly? The first question is, how do we even know we're looking at something intentional? Because something entering our atmosphere could look like a lot of things. Meteors, experimental aircraft, satellites re-entering. There's already a massive number of unidentified aerial phenomena that get reported every year, the vast majority of which turn out to be mundane explanations, but something is always unexplained. If something landed, actually physically landed somewhere on Earth, the response would probably be military first. That's just reality. The military controls airspace. They have protocols for things entering that airspace that don't respond to communication attempts. So the first humans to get close to something like that would almost certainly be soldiers, not scientists. That's already a problem, because a military response is built on threat assessment, and you can't do a threat assessment on something you have zero reference point for. Is it armed? What does armed even mean to them? Is it moving toward something? Is that movement aggressive, curious, automatic? Every decision in those first minutes would be made with incomplete information and very high stakes. And history tells us that when humans make decisions with incomplete information and high stakes, they don't always make great ones. Okay, let's say we get past that initial chaos. Something has landed. It hasn't been attacked. Nobody's been hurt. Now what? Scientists would be brought in. Linguists, mathematicians, biologists. There would be an attempt to communication. And this is where it gets genuinely fascinating, because we'd have to figure out something we've never had to figure out before. Not just what to say, but how to say anything at all. Do they communicate through sound? What frequency range? Do they communicate through light, through chemical signals like insects do, through touch, through some mechanism we don't even have a name for because nothing on Earth does it? There have actually been serious academic papers written about this. One approach is called Linkos, a mathematical language designed specifically for communication with non-human intelligence. It was created in the 1960s by a Dutch mathematician, and it starts from pure logic and builds up a vocabulary from scratch, never assuming the other party knows what a word means, only that they can recognize patterns. The idea is you start with, here is 1, here is 2, here is 1 plus 1 equals 2, and you build from there. It sounds painfully slow. It is painfully slow, but it might be the only way that doesn't immediately hit a dead end. And even if communication starts working, there's a much deeper problem. We would have no idea what they want. Are they here for resources? Are they running from something? Are they lost? Are they on a mission? Are they curious? Are they here to warn us about something? We'd be reading the situation completely through our own lens, and that lens might be completely wrong for the context.
Here's a perspective that doesn't get talked about enough. What would we look like to them? If they've been watching us, even briefly, here's what they might have noticed. A species that spends enormous resources fighting itself. A species that is actively damaging the only planet it lives on. A species that is smart enough to build the technology that could eventually destroy it. Now, that might not matter to them at all. Maybe they don't have value judgments about civilizations. Maybe they've seen 1,000 species at this exact stage of development. Maybe it's just data. Or maybe it matters a lot. Maybe there are civilizations out there that don't make contact until a species reaches a certain threshold of cooperation or stability. And maybe we're not there yet. That's actually one of the theories for why we haven't found anyone yet. What scientists call the zoo hypothesis. The idea that there are civilizations out there that are deliberately leaving us alone, watching to see what we do, waiting until we're ready. It's uncomfortable, and it's completely untestable, but it's not crazy. Here's the moment that I think about a lot. Imagine the very first human to actually stand in front of an extraterrestrial being. Not behind glass, not on a screen, actually in front of one. What do you do? Do you wave? Do you bow? Do you stay completely still? Do you speak? In what language? With what tone? Every instinct you have in that moment comes from millions of years of human evolution on Earth. Eye contact means something specific to us. Showing your hands means something. Smiling means something. Moving slowly means something. But none of that is guaranteed to translate into anything at all in that moment. And the terrifying, beautiful, completely overwhelming thing about that moment is that it would be the most important first impression in the history of our species. What happens in that room
in those first minutes could shape the relationship between humanity and another civilization for centuries.